Look, if this were to take place, if the British embassy was to be moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, I realise you oppose such a move. What would be the consequences of that?
It's not just us who will oppose to such a move. It's international law, international resolutions. The legal status of Jerusalem is very well defined, clear, written in legal stones. And guess by who? First and foremost by the UK, that was in control of Palestine before the creation of the State of Israel. You know the history, the Balfour Declaration that promised our land without consulting us. So the UK has a huge moral responsibility, historic responsibility. It is absolutely extremely unfortunate that the UK new Prime Minister uses her very first appearance in the United Nations to promise the commitment of breaking international law when the UK and the successive governments is promoting global Britain, that the United Kingdom would promote international rules, the post-World War II world order. She goes there and knocks out any possibility of actually respecting such rules because she had met the Israeli Prime Minister. The consequences would be extremely catastrophic on every level. A, on the international system, B, on the prospects of the two-state solution that Ms. Truss and her predecessors have always espoused, because the heart of the two-state solution is Jerusalem being a capital, East Jerusalem as an occupied city being a capital for Palestine, and it would simply inflame an already very volatile situation in occupied Jerusalem. And you've seen what happened last year. You've seen what happened following Trump. You've seen how many people lost their lives at the hands of the Israeli military. And it also endangers communities worldwide, including in the United Kingdom. This is a very, very sensitive issue for many communities. So,
what do you mean by endangering communities worldwide, including the United Kingdom?
Because Jerusalem, Al-Aqsa Mosque, is a very important religious place for millions of British people.
Indeed.
And
but you said endangering communities.
The cohesion of the communities, because, you know, the status quo is very important. Respecting the status quo, making a certain group believe that their religion and their sacred places is under attack is not a very good thing. And there has been a very good advancement of community relations here. And by the way, Jerusalem has a very strong Christian dimension in it as well. There is the Anglican Church in Jerusalem. There is a Palestinian archbishop in Jerusalem for the Anglican Church. I don't know who's advising the Prime Minister.
But there was violence, was there not, after the American decision by Donald Trump to move the embassy? There was violence on the streets. There were deaths. Do you believe that there would be more violence following a move by Britain in the same direction? Because you also seem to recognise that the British government has, over many years, accepted the principle of a two-state solution.
So, of course, and only look at last year, what happened when the Israeli army invaded Al-Aqsa Mosque and the whole situation in Sheikh Jarrah, the eviction of people from their homes. You remember, there were hundreds of thousands of British people in the streets here demonstrating against Israel and supporting Palestinian rights. So this is a very sensitive issue, and violence there that left hundreds dead after an aggression and a war on Gaza. So, frankly, John, this is... Seriously, such a promise is, what's the word? It's immoral, illegal, and irresponsible. It's irresponsible.
Did this suggestion, it hasn't yet been announced as a piece of policy. The Prime Minister said to be considering it, but it follows, as you know, conversations between the Prime Minister and the Conservative Party's Friends of Israel, and of course with the Israeli leader too, with which Britain wants to keep good relations with Israel, an important ally to this country. Did it come as a complete surprise to you?
Yes, it did. It did, because even the Israeli Prime Minister just a few minutes ago at the UN podium said that he supports a Palestinian state, he supports a two-state solution. Okay, he knows, Prime Minister Truss knows that a two-state solution is based on the 1967 borders, and Jerusalem has a very clear international status, and Jerusalem is a final status issue. I'll tell you, John, Palestine has been actively searching for peace for a long time. You know that. We have signed many agreements. and we have allied ourselves with the international community, led by the US and the UK. What was the requirement of the international community of us? That we endorse the two-state solution. By the way, many think that the two-state solution is a Palestinian demand. Far from it. The two-state solution is a Palestinian compromise. It's our way to ally ourselves with the international community. The pillars of the two-state solution are very well defined. So if Ms. Truss comes and destroys the major pillar of the two-state solution, then she should tell us what is her alternative.
Well, Donald Trump moved the American embassy. The Biden administration has not reversed that position. The American suggestion is to recognize Palestinian relations in Jerusalem, in East Jerusalem. If Britain were to go down that course, the course which is taken by Joe Biden, would that soften your hostility to this in any way?
Well, it was Trump that moved the embassy, not America. And I think we all heard President Biden's position visiting East Jerusalem only 2 months ago without any Israeli presence or escorts, removing the Israeli flag from his car when he crossed to the occupied East Jerusalem. We're still waiting for him to reopen the Consulate General as a confirmation of that situation. But the US is something and the UK is something else. Well, the UK has always argued that it is a key supporter of international law and international resolution. It wants to see a region, because the UK is neighbor to the region, that is stable. Such a step is exactly
it would be a significant decision by the British Prime Minister. It's not yet a decision.
It's not a decision.
It's a decision which has been suggested and discussed.
And by the way, we have full trust in the British establishment, in the British Parliament. And by the way, we have allies here. So this is just thinking in her head. And I assure you that we have full confidence that the British people, their representatives, their institutions, their civil society will never allow for this to happen. Yet, even thinking about it is not acceptable.
Well, you refer to, you say, your faith in the British Parliament, I take it from that you intend to mount some sort of lobbying operation to try and mobilise opinion on your side of this question in Parliament and put pressure on the British government.
We don't do lobby. They do lobby, and they spend a lot of resources. We have allies, and we ally ourselves with those who believe in a world that could be governed by rules. And I assure you, we have so many allies in the Conservative Party and in the other.
Okay, so you hope to see this decision headed off before it happens. But just lastly, if it comes to this decision being carried out, what would that mean in terms of your relationship with the British government under this new Prime Minister?
It would destroy it. Completely. It will cease. Our relationship will cease. Look what happened during Trump. By the way, I was the ambassador in Washington. I was pulled out, and there was no contact whatsoever between us and any American at the time official institution. So, and not only that, that's not the only thing. It will actually destroy any possibility for a future peace, because it will be seen by Israel as a reward. And reward for what? For more settlements, more house demolitions, more colonization, more besiegement, more wars on Gaza, more killings on a daily basis. This is exactly the wrong message at the wrong time, and will be picked by the extreme elements in all sides. And the last we expected is that such a message would come from the United Kingdom.
Okay, well, just one last point raised by your last answer. When you go so far as to say that to relocate the British embassy to Jerusalem would destroy all possibility of peace, do you mean that literally? Surely you would still be in the business, would you not, of seeking peace?
Yeah, I have been seeking peace. My leadership have been seeking peace for more than 30 years. We have signed the Oslo Accords, but what we signed was based on international clear lines of a two-state solution. Any deviation from that very severe compromise on our side would destroy the chances of a two-state solution. And the world now, including the UK-based Amnesty International, is talking of Israel as committing the crime against humanity of apartheid. That's not me saying. That's Amnesty International. That's the US-based Human Rights Watch saying. That's the Israeli human rights organization like B'Tselem. So if Liz Truss wants to go in that direction, then she is also encouraging people to think about the dynamics of the conflict in a different way, that this is an apartheid and segregation and racism rather than two states for that will end the conflict once and for all, and will give the two sides what they aspire in terms of nationhood and independence.
Okay, Husam Zomlot, head of the Palestinian Mission to the UK. Thank you for joining us in the studio this evening.